In this lecture, we'll be discussing ethical issues from a multicultural perspective. It's important that you address issues of culture with every client, and you may be practicing unethically if you do not address cultural issues with clients. But are current theories adequate for working with culturally diverse clients? First, we must recognize that historically, most therapists have relied on Western therapeutic models. The theoretical perspectives we'll be discussing in this course that inform our counseling decisions reflect a Western point of view and Western values. So these may not be appropriate for working with all clients. It's important that we incorporate an interactive person in the environment focus. So we have to focus on the client in the context of their culture, in the context of their environment. So when you think about it, our job as therapists is to help the client adapt to their environment, to their culture, to their surroundings. If we are helping them adapt to a culture and to a worldview that is not their own, we can be helping them develop behaviors and attitudes that are maladaptive, that will harm them in their particular context. So it's important that we help them adapt to their situation, to their worldview. So we must create strategies that are congruent with the patient's or the client's worldview. We have to remember that each of the theories that we use is based upon a set of values, and those values may not apply to people from all cultures. So things that underpin most of the theories that we'll be discussing are things like independence, autonomous decision making. And these are not values that are held by all people, so we must make sure that simply because this is an assumption of our theories, we don't impose those values on our clients. So you should focus on both the individual and environmental factors. You have to view the individual within the context of their family and their culture. So don't just focus on the cultural values and beliefs, but also those of the family. And so that's speaking to the fact that you have to think about culture with regard to every client, because the family constitutes a culture of its own and must be given attention. You must also understand social justice issues. So how things like oppression, discrimination, privilege, racism can can contribute to your client's issues. Also things like economic factors, political factors. And you must seek to make social change within communities and institutions rather than simply blaming the client for the issues or simply seeking to help them gain insight. So certainly you don't want to solely blame the client for their problems if those problems are exacerbated by some of these other social justice issues. But also you can't focus on only helping the client gain insight without trying to make some change to these institutions. So you wouldn't want to constantly be helping clients recognize the fact that they are subjects or victims of racism, but then you're doing nothing to try to change that. You're telling them that economic issues are contributing to their problems, but you're not also seeking to create jobs or improve the economic situation in some way. So you want to move beyond solely helping them gain insight to trying to address some of these issues.